Hi, everybody. I'm back. I'm back already. Can you tell that I've been thinking about this shit? Um, really glad that me and Ted were able to talk and discuss our points of view on the Tyshawn table. The comment section is surprisingly split to me. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think that there's like a lot of maybe he did, maybe he didn't from the angle. You can't 100% tell with complete certainty, which is all the more reason I think we should get a second angle. And it's one of the reasons that I think, the fact we don't is sort of suspicious, or they should at least, in my opinion, release the second angle on Instagram or something. I think they're doing that intentionally. But I mean, at this point, it's like, it is true. We only have one angle. It is a 2D plane. I cannot say with 100% certainty. I'm not like a forensics expert or anything, but I'm going to go into more detail as to the specifics of this angle and what I think are concerning about it. So I'm going to draw a top-down like perspective of the table with a couple of the important elements. So let's say that this is the center part of the table, right? Which is the highest part, okay? And then let's say also that the light gray parts, these are the seats of the table. The seats of the table are lower than the table itself. And there's one guy in there. I'll put you on. You're like Ted's main guy right now. You're writing for Ted right now, which I understand. You guys are both on the same team. But I'm going to address some of what you said, such as like, he's talking about geometric theories in the comments down there, and I'm like, I was losing my mind at like 4 a.m. I had too many Millers, and I was infuriated. But this is all in good fun. That's what I think everyone, myself included, we all need to remember. This is just skateboarding, and this is a fun thing to talk about. The gray parts represent the seats of the table, right? Which are lower, okay? So just to be clear, the intention of this trick, in my opinion, because there was some discussion about intentionality of the trick. So let me just see. Tyshawn, switch, ollie, thrasher, cover. So when I look at this, right, when I look at this photo, I'm not looking at this thinking what he's communicating here is that he switch ollied most of the table. No, obviously not. It's on the fucking cover of Thrasher. The point of it is to say, hey guys, I switch ollied a picnic table from the front to the back. He's supposed to be going from here to here, okay? Now, whether he wants to do that slightly on the left, slightly on the right, or whatever, I get it's easier to bail out with the lower stuff. That's up to him. But the goal of what we're doing in this exercise, and I think if you argue to the contrary, I think it's completely disingenuous. Ted's not here to defend himself, so the bit about like, it's similar to when everybody was trying to do the Tony Hawk and push what is possible. I would just say this is the year 2022. There are tons and tons of tricks that have already been done on this picnic table. This is a switch ollie long ways, okay? So like I kind of mentioned, this is not, the table does not represent like, it's not a measurement. He's not ollieing next to a tape measure. This is an obstacle with specific dimensions. If your goal is to ollie from the front to the back, you need to start in the front and clear the back. If you drift off to the side and stuff, in my opinion, that isn't legit and you didn't set out to do. Now that's what I am operating under. There's some people in the comments like, he did clear the table. Right, he cleared the table, but the point is how much of the table did he clear? Because I think his intention is totally transparent when it's on the cover of Thrasher as an NBD. Okay, so if he were to start here, and then like, I don't know, like if he were to start here and then his trajectory was to end right here. Say this is what you were doing, right? You still kind of cleared the table, no? And this is like, the first step of trying it, okay? Then you start here, and then you end here, right? And this is easier. I think that the argument some people are making is that these lines, when you, like a straight line goes shorter than a diagonal line does. That would be true if he cleared the whole thing. If he cleared the whole thing, that would be straight. But what happens is it's easier to jump from here where it's safer, because the point of this obstacle, the difficult part of ollieing over lunch table long ways, is maintaining height. And that is the crucial thing that the top of the table represents. The top of the table represents all of the difficulty. These gray parts are lower, so they reduce the difficulty of clearing the obstacle. If your Tyshawn and your thing is power, and you're trying to ascend over the entire table, careening off to the edge at the very end, that doesn't prove anything. That just proves to me that he couldn't clear the table. So yeah, so I'm not buying into the thing where people are like, it's actually harder that he did it crooked, because that's more air travel. Come on, be serious. Be honest with yourself. If he could have done it straight on like that, he would have. But it's harder to do that versus this, because the amount of time you have to spend in the air, you can see right here over the highest part of the table, is shorter. And that is what is difficult about the trick. So if he goes like this, and he really started over here, and I'll show you guys on the ground, but he really started over here, and maybe he goes kind of like that. That's less time going over the table than it would be if he were to go like this. So that's the crucial part of this. I'm sure Tyshawn can ollie a really long distance, but what this obstacle poses and what makes this trick difficult is the amount of time in the air that you need to maintain a specific height. That's the entire point of this, and to me, that's why it's very frustrating to see him start over here and to end somewhere maybe kind of around this area. I would say that he did not clear the trick front to back. I will do my best to prove that, is because we have another line to consider here. So people saying like it's an NBD, it like even if he did go off to the side a little bit, it's still an NBD. I saw a comment there. Okay, but this would be an NBD, and this would be an NBD, and this would be an NBD, and this would be an NBD. So the things that all of these have in common is that they're not this, okay? So whether you cleared the table 2 inches from the front or 2 inches from the back, if you don't go over the end of the table, you didn't do the trick. You're still going off to the side. These are all half tricks. These are all half commitments, because you did not engage fully with the actual task, which is to clear the entire top side of the table. That is what is difficult. It's about maintaining the height. Anyway, let me continue. We can see this line is crucial, okay? This one that runs parallel to the table, starting here. The table is perfectly lined up with this crack in the ground right here. You guys can see that, right? You can definitely see this, right? If this line were to continue, let me get a ruler. I need a ruler. I need something straight. I need to make sure I do this right, and I'm going to take a photo of the ruler. Anybody who's laughing at me right now, being like, dude, you're out of your fucking mind, maybe. But I'm going to prove my case as best as I can. Okay, so let me set this up right here. Boom, perfect. So if the line were to continue at the angle that it is going, his back trucks are over that line. And I'll show you guys that in the photo. But basically, so this is the line, this is the crack in the ground that's running straight across. Okay. And listen, if I'm totally wrong about this, I have no problem. But I just am, all the factors in the situation are making me find it to be very, very strange. Okay, so I want to mark his trajectory, where he jumps from and where he lands. Okay, so he's popping from like not very far away from that crack. And this crack, remember, is aligned with the lower part of the table. I would say he's barely popping over any of the top of the table. See how little space there is there? So to me, what I view this as is he's popping somewhere around here-ish, maybe? Does that seem fair? Right? I mean, this is the crack. Let me get this thing out again. Yeah. Okay, so he's barely ollieing. I would say that actually he's like, even though he gets way over it, like he's ollieing so far off to the side, which I think is incredibly suspicious. Dude, this guy did not make it over. There's no fucking way he made it over. He lands, and I'll show you guys. Let me open the photo. Okay, he lands with his back truck on top of that line. So it's like his landing area is right around, let's see. It's pretty far, but it's his back truck is like over here. You look at the shadows in this picture, right? I know we're really going there. The sun is probably, let's see the angle on this. It's something like this. So the sun is like, I don't know, somewhere over on this side of the image. But the crucial thing to note is that at this time of day, the shadows from where we're sitting, from where we're looking, are being cast behind the object, okay? So all the shadows in this image, the table's in the front, the shadows are going behind, like this. You can see Tyshawn is here. His shadow is here, which is behind him. He's in front of the picnic table. His shadow is behind the picnic table. Everything in this image, all of the shadows are pointing this way, correct? You're in the foreground. Your shadow is cast in the background, not vice versa. His shadow is most definitely not going this way. Okay, so here he is creating a shadow behind him. Another part of his shadow is this. This is a shadow that Tyshawn is creating, which means that he can't possibly be going over the big part of the table right here. He's not going from here to here. That's impossible, because if he were here, his shadow would be getting cast in front of him, which would create this. But that's not what is happening. That's not what is happening. He is on this side of the table, which means his shadow is being cast backwards. It's being cast behind him, which you can see here. It's behind him, and you can also see here. So he is on the lower part of the table. He did not jump from the front side of the table to the back side of the table. The physical universe does not lie. This shadow cannot possibly be the only shadow in this image that is just decided to go this way when every single shadow in this whole image is going that way. This shadow doesn't exist until Tyshawn makes it. See? There's static shadows in this image, and there's dynamic shadows. This is a dynamic shadow that Tyshawn creates. It's a shadow that's being cast behind him, which means he is going over the lower side of the table. It is physically impossible for him to create this shadow if he's going over the top of the table. Okay? So unless Tyshawn has some magical property where he can do this, he can defy the laws of physics and he can go like that. Or let's be more realistic. Let's be more honest. If he can go like this, where he barely rides the side of the table the whole time, and then some sort of aerial 50-50, and then magically curves off and lands here, whereas his back truck is, by the way, I think the most likely explanation is what actually happened is that he went like this. Right? He has to go in a straight line. To me, that's what it looked like he did. So people being like, you know, he did clear the table. He got over it. Sure, he got over it over the little part of it. But that wasn't the point of the trick. That was not the objective, what he was trying to accomplish. That's not what it looks like on Thrasher. That's not what anybody's going to be saying. They're all going to be saying Tyshawn ollied over the top of a picnic table. He went over the little part of the table. So you can see where he's landing right here. He's very, very much in front of the table here. And this line that runs like this, his back truck is over it. Based off what I can see, it doesn't seem to me like he was able to maintain his height for long enough to accomplish his goal. So on the second day or whatever, he made adjustments. And I actually do believe this. Yes, I do think there is a conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy. Someone is calling me Alex Jones. Alex Jonesian level conspiracy theories. I do believe he did not clear the table in the way that he said. This isn't an NBD to me. An NBD would be to go from here to here, to clear the entire top of the table, which is the point of the trick, which is what he is trying to make it look like he did. And anybody who's like, No, it was just like just like pushing the boundaries to see what's possible. Really? You think this, if this is accurate, you think that would be on the cover of Thrasher? Hey, look, he ollied most of the table and like kind of went to the side. You know, it's about the height, the maintained height. That is the point of the thing we're talking about. Okay, so I hope this made sense. If anyone's gonna call me Alex Jones, like, sure, you've got this is about as close as I hope I ever get to being Alex Jones. But yeah, I just wanted to get this done really quickly. Thanks for watching. Fuck.
And play a character. Front double full.